Techland have just released a video with new gameplay footage and information from Dying Light 2. Now, I love Dying Light 1, the original, and when I've seen this game seems to be just more of the same with expanded features and fixes, and that's exactly what I'm after. At the end of the day, I don't need you to reinvent the wheel, but if you could turn that horse and cart into a Ferrari, then that'd be awesome. Their last video was a mission from the game which ended with a moral choice that literally changed the surrounding of the game. Depending on what you chose, you could actually drain an underwater zone, which you could now explore, whereas if you chose the other path, you got nothing. Now, there was no sign of this during the example, but it was a great idea of how your choices can actually have a real-world impact, which you don't see in many other games. This video expanded on a lot of the other areas in the game. We got to see some of the new features, such as a gliding parachute, which allowed you to travel around the map a lot easier, and a more complex faction and reputation system. It's also seems to have updated the day and night cycle, which before, yes, there used to be some extra zombies around and you'd see different types, but they talked about in this how when night came, zombies would actually come out of the buildings onto the street. So in the daytime, you've got some, they might be in the shade, but most of them have sought shelter inside the buildings away from the sun. Also gone to these kind of nest sort of zones. And when you go to the night, they all pour out of the buildings onto the street, and everything becomes a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more dangerous to travel because of the sheer number and the different types. But that also means that, well, in the day, it might be safer out on the street. Of a nighttime, you can actually go and raid these nests. Now, in the daytime, these are all full of zombies. It'd be almost impossible to get in. Whereas they empty out at night and they become sort of little dungeons for you to sneak in. The video also seems to showcase almost like a stealth system, or at least hint whether it exists. I'm not sure if this is a feature or not. It hasn't been confirmed, but he definitely talks about taking care, and the camera makes it seem as if perhaps there's a different way to go through these areas rather than just full force. And of course, if you manage to get to the end of the nest, you get the special loot. In this, it seems to be some kind of antiviral. You are changing into a zombie. It says that at the end, and you've got to stay alive. Now, whether you'll have to go into these nest systems every few days or whatever to prevent turning into a zombie, who knows? It's going to be interesting to see what the story is, and I'm very interested. You also see these new parkour abilities. There's updated infected, and it talks about an improved combat system. From these screenshots, the weapons and the swords do seem very meaty, very Chivalry 2-like, which is a game I've been playing recently, and overall I'm definitely looking forward to Dying Light 2. With a release date of the 7th of December 2021, I've already got my Christmas Twitch game lined up, and yeah, don't let me down, Techland. I'm looking forward to it. On to the next story. Biomutant is a recent game that a lot of people have been very hyped for, and yet when it came out, it really received mixed critical and game reviews. Well, some people loved the aesthetics and the fighting. Other people complained that the game was too easy. The graphics weren't quite what they were after. And altogether, it's just a dead, empty world. It really didn't live up to the expectations of some people, and developers seem to agree. They've released this statement which says, "We're working on an update for Biomutant, which we hope to get into the players' hands soon. Most likely, we'll be able to deliver the update to PC platforms first and then onto consoles. The update will include bug fixes and changes based on community feedback. We're working on pacing the dialogues, narrator settings, difficulty settings, video settings like depth of field and motion blur." No one wants motion blur. No one. Ever. Loot and enemy tuning, as well as the sound of combat. And while, yes, that sounds like a good thing to do, you're listening to player feedback and fixing them, it also sounds like you're trying to fix basically the entire game. It sounds like that's the kind of thing you should do before release, but at least you are working on it. You're not just palming it off on, oh, well, we can't please everybody. So I like the direction you're going. It's just, that's a lot of stuff to do, and it really doesn't sound like you're going to get that sorted in one patch. But hey, if you keep working on it, maybe you'll end up with a game that pleases everybody. Here's hoping. While I do make videos about TV series and movies, one thing I never expected to say in a gaming video is that Netflix is going to be making their own game. It's a bit weird. Yes, apparently they're fishing around for a major video game business executive to hire. And although the insider says that experts say it's a bad idea, I cannot think it's a bit odd myself. You see, it's not like this hasn't been tried before by massive companies, and Netflix is indeed a massive company. It says here they get 200 million paid subscribers worldwide. They definitely have the budget to make games. The issue is that just having one employee who knows how to make games doesn't really lead to anything. Amazon has bought multiple gaming studios at this point, and they've tried multiple games, all of which has just have failed. Tech companies just don't seem to have the creativeness for what's involved. Hell, they can't even get a lot of their own TV series right, but this hasn't put Netflix off. Van Drunen has said that when you get into gaming, you really need to have the stomach, which Amazon's proved they had. Despite all their failures, they're still making new games. It says so, like when you have Google and Amazon, they don't have internal numbers or the understanding of the space to go, yeah, you know what we should do? Spend $10 billion to really break in. And Amazon does seem to committed to just throwing money at it. So eventually, maybe they'll hit on something big, but whether Netflix can stay the course remains to be seen. Well, they haven't confirmed what they're going to do in the gaming space. They have said so far that our members value the variety and quality of our content. Members also enjoy engaging more directly with the stories they love through interactive shows like Bandersnatch or UV Wild, or games based on Stranger Things, La Casa de Papel, and To All the Boys. So we're excited to do more with interactive entertainment. And you can imagine that they focused on doing tie-ins, and there was indeed a Stranger Things game that I don't know whether it's successful or not, but it was a pixel art game. It did fit in with the series very well. The issue, that's not all it takes, and as we've seen with the Avengers game very recently, just because something has an IP behind it, no matter how big that audience might be, no matter how successful those movies or TV series was, it doesn't mean your game's going to be a success. In fact, just because you have a big movie series, you can then make a big game and just lose even more money because you're trying to throw the budget to try and make a AAA game. The Stranger Things game was pixel art. It probably didn't really cost that much to make, considering what have been spent on the Avengers. This really depends how big Netflix are going to go for it. If they're trying to stick to small things, then it's not going to be much risk involved. But all in all, this could be the gamble of the century. Hey, if it means good games based on good IPs, I'm all in, but Netflix has a spotty reputation at best, given some of the quality of the TV series, so they could either go big or just end up going home. Finally, Ubisoft have released more information about Far Cry 6. Fighting El Presidente, which is obviously voiced by Giancarlo Esposito, you'll be forced to use a set of older, more improvised weaponry, which are made from everything from old sardine cans to motorcycle engines and even serrated Macarena CDs. With 49 customizable weapons, albeit banged up ones, shooting really shouldn't be a problem. They've even got some of them strapped to the roof just in case you don't want to slow down as you slaughter an entire village. The trailer talks about other options, though, besides shooting. You can hide your guns from the cops, you can bribe the right people, sabotage people using a bit of stealth in the background, or even just sneak past in plain sight, like you see here. They're talking to a garden, handing them the correct papers to get into the correct area. How you'll get the papers, we don't know, but it's definitely an interesting feature at this point. I'll be going loud through every mission myself, but it's nice to have the options, and given this scene, that decision will no doubt come back to bite me in the arse. Overall, it's a decent trailer. With Far Cry, at this point, you really know what you're going to get. If you like the old ones, you're probably going to like this one as well. But now you get a puppy in a wheelchair. Is it weird that when I see that, all I want to do is strap guns to it and hope it can shoot straight? And that's all I've got for you. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button, press subscribe for more videos in the future, and let me know what you think of any of the topics down below in the comments. I'll be reading them all and get back to you when I can. But for now, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.